And my name is Stacey Adelman, and I'm a registered psychologist and owner of Joshua Tree Learning Center in Regina, Saskatchewan. And every Tuesday at 12, I go live, either by myself or with a guest, and we talk about a lot of different topics in regards to our mental health and wellness and learning. And so today, I thought I'd really talk a lot about how nature facilitates mental wellness. So I am thrilled that it's spring. And one of the first things I did was I drove my dogs out into one of the, nearby grid roads and just let the dogs run. And I had a couple really great runs and walks out in the country. That's just something I really love to do when it's spring. And I love it because right now there's no bugs, the temperature's perfect, and we've been cooped up, I feel for myself anyways, a lot in the winter time. So spring is just like this, great energy. Everybody's getting outside and it just feels great to see the neighbors coming out of their houses again. It's just a really great feeling now that it's spring. So I really wanted to talk about, well, what are the benefits of nature and how does nature affect our mental wellness? And I think the research that's really being done in the area now is very, very clear. It's growing all the time, in that nature really does facilitate or promote positive changes in our mental well-being. In fact, research is clearly showing that it's decreasing levels of anxiety and depression in all age groups. And we really saw the research clear that during the COVID pandemic, those that had access to nature and used nature as a way of coping did significantly better in terms of their mental wellness than those who maybe did not access nature as well. So I wanted to talk about, well, what is it about nature that just feels so good? And what are some things we need to think about or when we are in nature? So one of the first things I read about and learned about that I thought was really, really interesting, it's just that being in nature by itself, just being out there, isn't necessarily what contributes to our mental wellness, but rather the key differentiator is our connectedness to nature that really counts. So, what is the difference? Well, when we're connected to nature, we are experiencing, we are using our five senses. So, if we're using our five senses to connect to nature, we are going to have more of an emotional boost. So, for example, think of your five senses. Think of I'm seeing things that are really, really beautiful. Right now, out my window, I can see this beautiful green tree that I really, really like. Or what am I smelling? Oh, when I'm by the water, I love the smell of the water. Or when I'm in a forest, I love the smell of the pine trees. And I'm taking note of that. I'm being mindful and present in the moment. So, what am I hearing? Well, I'm hearing sounds of the birds chirping. Or last night, as I was walking, I was talking with my daughter about just how peaceful and quiet it was. We couldn't hear the traffic anymore where we were, and that it was just so calming and peaceful. So being mindful in the moment and using your five senses to interact and fully engage in the experience that nature brings. Something I really encourage people to do is take pictures when you're in nature because it does make you slow down. So when you go on your evening walk, even out in the neighborhood, if you take your phone and you're taking pictures of the flowers or the trees, or you're walking through a park and you're taking, just it makes you slow down and it makes you notice things that maybe you wouldn't normally take the time to slow down and notice. So, again, it's another way of interacting with nature that has the most benefit on our mental wellness and well being. We also need to think about our emotions, right? So it's generating some kind of an emotion. So for example, when I was out in the field running the dogs last night, I was laughing because it was fun to watch the dogs running and having so much fun out there. But it was also just this sense of calm because it was so nice and quiet and peaceful. So it's generating an emotional response. And so the mindfulness and being in the presence of nature is what gives us that emotional response. And when we have that emotional connection, then the benefit is definitely increased. All right. So and I think it also helps us to think of our connectedness or our compassion. So, for example, when we're out and about in the parks, one of the benefits is that we are most likely to start connecting with other people. So, when I'm out walking my dog, I'm probably running into other people that are out walking their dogs, and we can start socializing and connecting. And that connection is what facilitates a strong mental wellness. So, connection with our animals, connection with other people in the neighborhood, meeting new people, and talking about nature. How it's so beautiful out today. It feels so good to get outside today. So people are engaging in positive conversations. And that is another reason that nature is just so valuable and so beneficial when to our mental health. So, what do we need to think about, in terms of nature and how to best use it? Number one, we have to think of our connectedness to nature. So, we talked a little bit about mindfulness, but we also need to think about, okay, how do we get more connected? Maybe it's through having a garden. And having a garden in your backyard where you're actually digging in the dirt and taking pride in something that you're growing, right, can have a real positive effect. We talked about the mindfulness, maybe taking pictures. So it's engaging in nature and being a part of it rather than just kind of observing it from afar. And that was the key differentiator and thing we want to kind of pay attention to. So it's really, really important then that even, in cities, we acknowledge the parks and the nature that is available to us in our cities. And I think it's really especially important that for accessibility. So I'm a huge advocate for accessible playgrounds, accessible beaches, any kind of accessible equipment that can make nature more accessible to people because it has such a profound effect on their mental health and well-being. So how do we make parks more accessible? And how do we make our green spaces safer so that everybody feels safe in accessing our green spaces? I think that's something we definitely need to think about and work towards. So our city teams, our landscape designers, all of that need to really think about, well, how can we bring nature into the city, not just in our parks, but in maybe on the boulevards, right? Or in our yards or with the trees on all of our streets, right? The more we're surrounded and interacting with nature, the better off it's going to be for our communities and for the individuals in our communities and facilitating that mental wellness. We want to help our kids in particular develop a lifelong love of nature. So creating it as a value system in our families, that this is something we can go outside and enjoy together, no matter what the season. And I know for me, winter can be a little bit difficult, right? But to make that conscious decision to get outside and engage in family activities, even when it's difficult, like in winter, because the benefits to our mental well-being and emotional well-being are just so, so profound. Oh, right. So I think that's it for today. I just really wanted to touch on that. Whenever I'm working with individuals, it's something I always recommend, trying to build into your daily activity. I just know for myself, being in an open space like a field or sitting by water, it's instantly calming, right? For other individuals, it might be watching animals, right? Just sitting on your step and watching the bunnies because they just don't seem to have a care in the world. That can have a really profound calming effect. walking around barefoot in your lawn or feeling the cold cement on your bare feet can really help us feel grounded, safe, and secure. Some people even like to go into a park and actually like lay in the grass, or in your backyard, laying on the hill, for example, can make us just feel safe and connected, and is can instantly lower our stress levels. So highly, highly recommend just get creative with where do you feel the most calm? Where do you feel the most safe and secure in nature? And making a regular intention to visit and enjoy those in whatever way works for you. Enjoy your family outside, take nature walks, enjoy art with nature and get creative. Teachers, get outside. We know that concentration actually increases outside. So the more we can actually be connected and doing land-based kinds of activities with our kids, we know that overall their emotional well-being will improve. So again, happy spring, everybody. I'm just so thrilled it's spring, and looking forward to summer. Get outside, enjoy your flowers, enjoy the trees. Find a new hiking trail. There's amazing hiking trails around Saskatchewan. If you get out of the city, there's lots to explore. Enjoy your parks, get outside, talk with your neighbors, and have fun. Take care, and we'll see you next week.